use present continuous to describe actions that are happening now, actions that are unfinished or in progress. For example, we are explaining the lesson now. We are explaining the lesson now. It means that the action, which is explaining, is happening now. I'm in the middle of doing it. The second example, I'm reading Oliver Twist these days. I'm reading Oliver Twist these days. It means that the action, which is reading, is happening these days, and it's continuing for some days too. The second usage, we use present continuous to describe future actions which are arranged for, something that's already discussed or planned ahead. For example, he is traveling tomorrow. It means that he already planned for traveling. For example, he maybe prepared his bag and booked his ticket, so he already had the intention for traveling. The second example, it's arranged. We are going to Hurghada. It's arranged. We are going to Hurghada. It means that they already arranged and prepared everything for traveling. Remember, we use future through present simple and a present continuous. But in present simple, we use present simple to describe future schedules or timetables, fixed plans. As we said, the plane doesn't arrive at 3 p.m., it arrives at 3:30. It's an event which has a specific time in a timetable. But remember, we use future through present simple and a present continuous. But in present simple, we use present simple to describe future schedules or timetables, fixed plans. As we said, the plane doesn't arrive at 3 p.m., it arrives at 3:30. It's an event which has a specific time in a timetable. But for present continuous, we use present continuous to describe actions which are planned for. For example, he is traveling tomorrow. We also use present continuous for temporary situations. It is not a habit. For example, I usually go by car, but today I'm going by bus. I usually go by car, it's present simple. We use present simple in this sentence to describe permanent status, to describe daily routine, to describe a habit. But today I'm going by bus. I use present continuous in this sentence to describe temporary action, temporary situation, something it is not a habit, something doesn't last forever. I usually go by car, but today I'm going by bus. The example means that the speaker's habit is going by car, but only for today he's going by bus. The second example, he's eating a lot these days. He's eating a lot these days. It means that eating a lot these days is something new or different from the usual. So, I use present simple to describe permanent status, something lasts forever. But I use present continuous to describe temporary actions, something is not a habit, something is not a habit. Another use for present continuous, something which is happening too often or more than often, usually annoying habits. For example, she is always complaining. The example means that she is complaining too much. Note, In the usual, always comes with present simple. But when it comes with the present continuous, it expresses that something is happening a lot or too much from the normal. For example, my brother is forever interrupting me during speaking. It means that he is always interrupting her during speaking. In addition, we use present continuous to describe situations that are changing, developing in the present. For example, families are becoming smaller and smaller these days. It means that it's developing action, it's changing in the present. The second example, you are getting taller and taller every day. It means that you are developing each day. You are getting taller every day. For the form of present continuous, we have the helping verb, which is verb to be, plus the main verb plus ing. So, for the pronoun I, we have the subject, which is I, plus the helping verb, which is am, plus the main verb plus ing. For example, I'm reading Oliver Twist these days. I am reading Oliver Twist these days. For the pronouns he, she, it, we have the helping verb is, plus the main verb plus ing. For example, he is traveling tomorrow. He is traveling tomorrow. For the pronouns we, you, they, we have the helping verb are, plus the main verb plus ing. For example, they are listening to the lesson. They are listening to the lesson. This is for the affirmative form. For the negative form, we have not plus the helping verb. I am not reading Oliver Twist. I am not reading Oliver Twist. He is not traveling tomorrow. They are not listening to the lesson. For a yes or no question, we have first the helping verb, then the subject, then the main verb plus ing. For example, am I reading? Am I reading? Yes, I am. Or I can answer by no, I am not. Is she traveling tomorrow? Is the helping verb. She, the subject. Traveling, the verb plus ing. Is she traveling tomorrow? I can answer with yes, she is, or no, she isn't. Okay, now we have something called stative verbs. Stative verbs are some verbs are not usually used in continuous tenses, are not usually used in continuous tenses. They are called stative. Why they are called stative? Because they describe status. We use these verbs in the present simple tense. Stative verbs describe status, so we use present simple. For example, verbs of emotions like love, like, hate, dislike. For example, Marianne loves her home. Marianne loves her home. I put the verb love in present simple. For example, again, verbs of senses like hear, see, taste. The soup tastes delicious. The soup tastes delicious. I put the verb taste in present simple, not in present continuous. Why? Because it is a stative verb. Verbs of possessions like have, belong, own. This flag belongs to my aunt. This flag belongs to my aunt. We have verbs which express a state of mind, like think, leave, forget. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. I put think in present simple. Why? Because it's a state of verb. Why it's a state of verb? Because this verb describes states. Because this verb describes states, not action, not physical activity. We have other verbs like be, contain, include. For example, those curtains cost a fortune. Those curtains cost a fortune. Okay, pay more attention here. As we said, we use stative verbs in present simple. But we have some verbs can be both stative verbs and action verbs, but with a different meaning. For example, verb to be. We said that verb to be, we put it in present simple. For example, John is very honest. John is very honest. It means that it's his usual behavior. It's a general truth about him, that he is very honest. But if I put verb to be in present continuous, it means that it's a temporary action. It is not his normal. For example, Ken is being very rude. Ken is being very rude. It means that it's temporary action. It is not his normal. The same for the verb expect. I can put expect in present simple and in present continuous, but with different meaning. If I put expect in present simple, it means think or believes. Like, I expect you enjoyed your holiday. It means that I think that you enjoyed your holiday. I believed that you enjoyed your holiday. So, if I put expect in present simple, it means think or believe. But if I put expect in present continuous, it means wait. For example, I'm expecting letters from my grandma. I'm expecting letters from my grandma. It means that I'm waiting a letter from my grandma. I'm waiting a letter from my grandma.